Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to D Mace's The Rant. I'm D Mace, your ranter, and this is the Rant Nation. Welcome in, welcome in. Do me a favor. Would you hit that like button? Would you hit that subscribe button? Would you hit that share button? Would you hit that little notification bell that'll let you know when I'm bringing things and bringing content on to the channel? Certainly do appreciate it. So, I want to talk about MLKX. This was the last two episodes of MLKX, again being broadcasted on Hulu, on National Geographic, and also it's also playing on Disney Plus. So Disney Plus is where I actually see it. So in this last one here, we got to see a little bit more depth of the characters, as if they weren't deep enough. But the first one I want to talk about is Malcolm X. So you come to the place where now you're dealing with his expulsion from the Nation of Islam, where Elijah Muhammad silenced him, and then the brothers were getting kind of jealous and fearful of him, and so they were putting things into Elijah Muhammad's head, saying, he's trying to take over, he's trying to start his own thing, and so there were threats against his life, and one of the guys that came to him in secret and told him, he said, man, he said, they're thinking about killing you. He said, and this is pretty serious. And so, of course, Malcolm took that very seriously. But the thing that was so crazy was that you see, like, there was a scene where he's walking with his daughter and they're going to go get some ice cream. And so they're going to their car and the guy walks past him and brushes past him like that. And so Malcolm says, hey, man, where's your respect? And the guy doesn't say anything, just keeps on walking. So Malcolm looks at his car and he's like, man. So he tells his daughter, he says, go up on the highest part of the step in front of the house, and I'll call you. So she goes up to the top part of the step, and he gets in the car, and he's like, really, he's scared because he's like, I don't know if this car is going to blow up or what. So before he puts his daughter in it, he's like, yo, let me go ahead and test this out here. So he turns the car on, and it starts. It wasn't a bomb or anything like that, so that was good, of course. But so anyway, him and his daughter, they went and they did whatever it was that they did. So then they bombed the man's house. His family in there and everything. It was crazy, just crazy, and it blows my mind to think that this even really happened, and it did. So the other thing was his desire, like as his with his expulsion came his enlightenment, in a sense, kind of like maybe the civil rights movement isn't that bad. Maybe it's not that weak. I think I need to start working with people and trying to find out how we can get some resolve for, African Americans. And so he desired to do that. That was a huge threat toward the Nation of Islam. They were really threatened by him. And all he was really trying to do is he was trying to start his own thing, but he wasn't trying to come against the Nation of Islam or anything like that. He wasn't trying to tear anything down or, but they did not like that. They did not like that. He was a major threat to the Nation of Islam. So anyway, he had those thoughts. He had second thoughts about King when him and King met and they talked. You see a part where he's talking to his wife Betty, and he tells us, you know what? He says he's a lot shorter, and what do you say, thicker or fatter than I thought he was, or something like that. But anyway, but he says, I like him. I like him. And so that was, pretty cool to see. But the crazy thing about this man is they killed this man in front of his whole family. He went to the Audubon Ballroom. This month, in fact, represents 1965, which will only be 60 years. My God. But anyway, he goes to the Audubon Ballroom and he gets gunned down in front of his entire family. His wife and his children are there to see this. That's senseless, man. That's horrible. That's cowardly. But so they killed this man in front of his family. But the awesome thing about that is that, it didn't stop his wife, man. Like these women had such courage, to speak out and to do different things to further the causes and different things like that. So that was pretty cool, pretty touching to see that part. There's an end part on there where she and Coretta Scott King get together, and there's actually that's a real account where they get together. They had some kind of a function back in 1972, sometime around about that. and they're talking and things like that. So that was pretty cool to see. So the other thing was Martin Luther King. Now, Martin Luther King was uh, Hoover, not Hoover. Was it Hoover? No, not Hoover. J. Edgar Hoover, yeah, J. Edgar Hoover. J. Edgar Hoover tried to blackmail him. He tried to blackmail. He was taping everybody. He had traps on everybody except himself, but he had traps on everybody. And so he had, put like some tapes out and all these different like little wires and things like that on King, and he's listening to King. And of course, as we found out, some years ago, I found out that he was having extramarital affairs. Is what it is. So he did. And so what happened is Hoover had these pictures and tapes of him having these extramarital affairs to his wife and had them sent parcel. And so, you know, that was a way to kind of threaten Martin or try to destroy his life. Here's the interesting thing about that, though, is Coretta didn't let that. It hurt her. It cut her deeply. Yes, it did. I can only imagine the times and the arguments they probably had with regards to that. But one thing the character said, and I don't know if she said this in life, she may have, but what she said was, she said, if J. Edgar Hoover thinks I'm going to throw away 10 years of marriage and a family and the movement of the civil rights, when we're gaining so much ground, he's got another thing coming. She said, I'm going nowhere, you know. And so Martin was glad to hear that, you know, of course. She's very strong, very strong, powerful woman, man. Like, these women, man, I'm telling you. But anyway, so yeah, so there was that part. And so she sent everything back to him. The other thing was he receives a Nobel Peace Prize, and so they think the Nobel Peace Prize is going to shut the man up, but it doesn't. He keeps going. He keeps on going. In fact, Lyndon B. Johnson's like, "Oh man, he got the Nobel Peace Prize. What is he doing?" You know, but it didn't stop him because the man had a passion. He had a desire to see black people treated equally. You know, and so he fought for that. He died for that, literally. And so it was very deep to see that and just kind of look at all those things, man, and see how far we've come, and we still have a ways to go. But to see the fight that took place and the sacrifice that people made on behalf of those who were not even born yet, so that we could have the things that we have today. So anyway, my final thoughts on MLKX is I thought this was a dynamite piece of work. I thought this was a dynamite account, even with regards to any of the creative art, the creative things that they did with regards to that, to creative liberties they may have taken with this. I enjoyed every bit of it. The actors did a fine job, man. Every actor that was playing, the guy that played Martin Luther King, the guy that played Malcolm X, the sister that played Betty, the sister that played Coretta, everybody that had a part in this did a phenomenal job. So kudos to them, man. It was a really, really good, and I hope that they get something for this. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I encourage you to check it out, man. It'll be eye-opening and it'll be a little bit entertaining too. So, but yeah, that's MLKX. Again, I'm D Mace, your ranter. This is the Rant Nation. Do me a favor, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Love you guys. Have a great night.